Yeah, we're recording now. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. I'd like to call to order SFSS Council meeting, Wednesday, December 6, 2023 at 4:43 p.m. We can start off with the territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and were currently situated on occupied territories. It is now time for roll call, and we can start up with the Bachelor of Environment Student Union. Bachelor of Environment, Tiana? Oh, Tiana, you DM'd me. But yeah, I see it in the chat. Thank you very much. And then it's a Biology Student Union. Biology, is Nicholas here? I take the silence as a no. Do we have Chemistry Student Society? Chemistry, Hannah? I will also take this as a no. We can move on to Cognitive Science Student Association. Is there a Cognitive Science? Bhuban? No, there is not. Actually tells me I skipped BAST. Uh-oh, that's not good. On the agenda, it says this. It has not been updated from Bacon. I apologize for that. Business Administration. Not in the room. That's unfortunate. I believe the next one was, yeah, Computing Science Student Society.
Hello, my name is Abel, pronouns she, her. All my access needs are met.
Thank you very much. And then it's Criminology.
Hello, my name is Henry, pronouns he, him. My access needs are just fine.
Excellent. And then it will be Data Science Student Society. In the chat, thank you very much. Do we have Earth Science? Yes, we do. Thank you. Do we have Economics? Economics, Rafid?
Hi everyone, my name is Rafid. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then it's Engineering.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tony. Pronouns he, him. All my access needs are met.
Fantastic to have you here, Tony. Do we have Environmental Science Student Union?
Hi, everyone. I'm Grayson Bark. He, him pronouns, and all my access needs are met. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Geography Student Union. Is there a geography? Yes, I see you in the chat. Appreciate it. Then it's Health Science Undergraduate Student Union. Ishika, Health Science. I take the silence as a no. Please interrupt me if some of these spots that are listed as vacant should not be. Until then, I will go on to Mechatronics.
Hi everyone, my name's Aiden, and all my needs are met.
Excellent, thank you very much. Philosophy Student Union. Philosophy, Nava. Okay, this will be a no. How about political science? Political science, Alaya. This will also be a no. Science Undergraduate Society. Catherine, Science Undergraduate. I will take that as a further no. I will move on to Society of Arts and Social Sciences. Rashtav, Society of Arts. This will also be an absent. Sociology and Anthropology. Andre Sosa, sociology. There will be more silence. Do we have software systems, Student Society?
AMTEL, pronouns he, him, all my access needs are met. Thanks.
Thank you. Statistics and actuarial science. Inside of the chat, appreciate it. Do we have sustainable and energy engineering?
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met.
Wonderful. World Languages and Literature Student Union. Reacha, World Languages. This is a new position. I have not seen this one before. We can move on to constituency groups. Do we have Disability and Neurodiversity Alliance? Den, Disability, DNA. This will be a no. First Nations, Métis and Inuit Student Association. Chris Sanderson. This will also be a no. I just saw DNA counselor join. Is disability and neurodiversity here? I think I will let them take their
Sorry.
times. Oh,
Um,
hello.
is that's Den. I'm sorry. I don't know if accidentally pressed leave meeting instead of unmute mic. I'm here. Hi, Den. Pronouns they them. All access needs are met. I'm sorry about that.
Not at all. Thank you very much. Welcome here. Where was I? Right. Student of Caribbean and African ancestry.
Hi, Yaye, she, her, access needs are met.
Awesome. Thank you. Residence Hall Association. Emmanuel, RHA. All right, I will take this as a no. Teach Support Staff Union. Inside of the chat, I see you. Thank you very much. Do we have SFP, IRG? Tulin? This will be a no. I'm moving on to exec committee then, starting with me. I'm clearly here. Pronouns he, him, his. Access needs are just fine. Do we have acting, VP internal, and organizational development? Ashley? Hello? Internal?
Hello. What a great time for my computer to freeze. Ashley, they, she pronouns, all access needs are met.
Thank you. VP Finance? Jad, VP Finance? Okay, this will be it. This will be a no. Do we have VP University? Thomas? VP UA?
He's going to log in via his.
Do you have VP external?
Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, I'm here.
Fabulous. Do we have VP external?
Hi, my name is Nancy, pronouns she, her, and all my access needs are met.
Very, very good. Do you have VP equity?
Hi everyone, my name is Priyanka, pronouns are she, her, hers, and access needs are met.
Excellent. Next up, VP events. Inside of the chat. Thank you very much. Society staff. Do we have temporary operations organizer?
Sindhu here, pronouns she, her, hers, access needs are met.
Thank you very much. Policy, research, and community affairs. This I will take as a no. Do we have the admin assistant? Inside of the chat, I see it. Thank you very much. We have a list of regrets. I believe there should be some extra ones that we'd be adding on to this. I think I can find the complete list. Oh, thank you, Samar. I see the complete list on the side of the chat. This will be done inside of the consent agenda. Very, very good. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Let me see if this matches up with the current. History, biomedical physiology, that's correct. Business admin. Okay, yeah, I would like to move to ratify the regrets of the complete list of the counselors inside of the chat Samara's posted in. So the Indigenous Studies, History Student Union, Biomedical Physiology, Business Administration Counselor, BP Finance, Behavioral Neuroscience, for the December 6th meeting. I will be seeking unanimous consent. I'm seeing no dissent. This is good. So be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda, the amended consent agenda by unanimous consent. Once again, I'm looking for unanimous consent. Okay, I'm seeing no dissent. Consent agenda is adopted. And I believe the regrets should be properly ratified. We can now move on to the adoption of the agenda. I know there should be some action items today. We should get right to it. I like to move. Would anyone care to second?
Second.
I hear CSA seconds, so be it resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. Now is the time for discussion. I see engineering has a first list. Go for it.
Hi, I'd like to amend an agenda item regarding WEC funding for ESSS.
Very nice.
Here's the motion.
I see it. This will be inside new business. Would there be anything else for this? Yeah, I believe this is just it. I'm assuming you move this?
Yes.
Excellent. I will second. I'm seeking unanimous consent to adopt this item on. I am receiving no dissent. That is very excellent. This thing is officially adopted on. Do we have any other lists from any other counselors here? Any other amendments from anyone? No. Okay, then I guess I will list myself. I've got one. This is not going to be a motion. This is going to be a discussion item, and I will make that very clear right here. And it is going to be called SFSS issues policy, and I will be calling it potential removal. Oh my, I should probably make it clear that I would like this to be on in camera. Hold on, still typing.
Yeah, I'll take that for now.
Yeah. I would like to move this. May I get a seconder?
Second.
I hear CSA seconds. Thank you very much. I am seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please do so now. I'm receiving no dissent at the moment, so I will consider this thing also adopted on. This is going to be my last call for any further lists. Now's the time for any amendments on the agenda. Actual motions anybody wants to add. Yes, I see Ashley has a list.
Oh, this will be such a nice amendment for everybody. I'm going to remove my in-camera motion that's currently listed on the agenda, I believe titled Community Safety. I'm just going to remove it.
Hold on, let me quickly find it really quickly. Is this a new business?
It's an in-camera discussion item. It's currently the only one listed on the agenda.
I see it. I see it.
Want to strike it.
Okay, got it. I'd like to second this. Do we have? I'm seeking unanimous consent. I'm receiving no dissent. This is also adopted on. I believe there was meant to be one item that was submitted by the business. Business council, no? Okay, I'm remembering things wrong. I don't believe we would have anything else then. If that's the case, I'll wrap up adoption. Be it resolved to adopt the agenda as amended. I am seeking unanimous consent. If anyone wishes to dissent, please do so now. Very well, I'm receiving no dissent. We officially have today's agenda. And then we can move on to reports from committees. None, there is none. We can move on to our straight into in-camera. So we have one in-camera item that is coming from me. I am moving. May I get a seconder?
Second.
Internal.
I hear CSA seconds. Be it resolved to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. I will be looking for unanimous consent on this one. All right. I am seeing no dissents. Let me stop sharing. And I will also pause the recording. Okay, got it. Thank you. I would like to move to go into X camera for the remainder of the meeting. May I get a seconder?
Second.
I hear CSA seconds. I am seeking unanimous consent. I am receiving no dissent. We can consider ourselves in X camera. We can take care of our discussion item over here, 11.1, which would be continuing discussions around space in the sub. I don't think the MVB counselor is here at the moment, so this might be, oh, actually you have a list.
Yeah, I do. I was told by the MVB counselor that he wished for this to be removed, and also that you were going to do that during adoption of the agenda. Totally blanked my mind also. So I'm going to move to suspend the rules, to strike this discussion item. Actually, no, to postpone until next council meeting, actually, is what I'm going to do.
Okay, then I would like to second it. I'm looking for unanimous consent, striking 11.1. I'm receiving no dissent. This is struck unanimously. I believe our first new business item would then be item 12.1, calling spring elections and referenda. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, Ashley got a list.
Yes, I will be explaining this in all of 2 seconds. I just want to find my notes.
Okay. While you are looking for it, I guess we can move in second. So I'm assuming you move this?
Yes, I move.
All right, then I would like to second.
All right, I now found my notes. Am I good to proceed, Liam?
Yes, you may.
Cool. So it is that time of year again where we have to call for the spring election for the next year's executive committee elections. As you can see in the motion, there is some dates outlined there. I will let you guys know this is option 1. There is an option 2, which I can show you as well. I just structured the motion for option 1 because it's my preferred one. So I do recommend that you guys take a quick look at that motion. But essentially what it will be is the notice of election and referendum period will be from January 8th to January 14th of this upcoming January. The nomination period will be from January 15th to January 28th. The campaigning period will be from January 29th to 25th of February. Yes, of February. So it's quite a long campaigning period. So that's will be where the main difference between option 1 and option 2 is. The post-election period from March 4th to March 18th, and then the council general elections from February 19th to March 10th. So that would be all of the non-executive councilors there. Allow me to find option 2. Hold on, this is going to take me a second. All right, option 2, very similar. What we're looking at is a notice of election referendum period from January 8th to 14th. The campaign, or the nomination period rather, from the 15th to the 28th again. And then the big difference is the campaigning period will only be from January 29th to the 11th of February instead of the 25th. And then everything else falls in line accordingly. Voting period will be the 12th to the 14th of February. And the post-election period will be from the 19th to the 4th. And the Council General Elections is the same, February 19th to March 10th. So essentially the big distinction between option 1 and option 2 is the length of the campaigning period. One of the reasons why I'm agitating for option 1 is to give potential candidates next year a longer period of time to campaign, to really flesh out their beliefs. This will also make planning for debates easier because we have a wider selection of dates to choose from. Another big reason is this will be over reading break, so it allows for kind of more online discussions, which tend to reach more students, because that at the end of the day is the big goal, is we want students to come out and vote for the referendum and for their executive officers, and I think more time to gather support is just better for everybody. But of course, at the end of the day, this is up to you guys if you would like to amend this motion to reflect option 2 instead of option 1. Yeah, that's all I think I have for me. If you have any other questions, do feel free to ask me or Sindhu, or if someone else knows something, them as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, to be clear, would we be voting on the options? Yes, Ashley.
Yeah, so essentially what we're doing is approving one of the two options. So in a sense, we're voting on the options. But if we want to keep it simple and we all think option 1 is fine, we're essentially just approving option 1 and officially declaring that the elections are going to happen. We are mandated by policy to do it by a certain date. So this should happen today, and we should pick which option, and yeah.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any points they'd like to note? Any preferences? I don't think we're really seeing any. I guess, could you reiterate the main benefit of option 2 again?
Yeah, so the main benefit of option 2 is that it's a shorter campaign period. So perhaps if you felt that it was necessary to have it be more concise, you didn't want it to drag on and on, that would be the reason to go for option 2, is because the campaign period is, oh, I'm terrible at math, but from January 29th to February 11th, so I guess that's about 2 weeks. Whereas the other one is from January 29th to February 25th, which is much longer. Yeah, and the reason for that would be longer is because we can't really have the voting period take place during reading break, so it's kind of on either side is the big issue there. So that's why the options are the way that they are. But yeah, essentially just long campaign period is what we currently have, or short is the other option.
Okay. I think we can move forward with option 1 in case there's any dissents. Now will be the time to voice them, by the way. No? Okay then. I will start us off by amending this item to strike the second option. So be it resolved that the council call the exec committee general election on the election referendum period would be
Sorry,
from
Liam,
January.
I have a point of order that you don't need to do that. The second option isn't included in the motion deliberately, so we don't have to amend it. You're just good to move on to unanimous consent.
My bad. You're right. It's not even included anyway.
Yeah.
I'll go for unanimous consent. I am receiving no dissent. We can consider this passed unanimously. We officially have our election period. Okay. I do not have the chat history with me at the moment. Could you remind me what the new business item would be? I think it should be the WEC grants deal, right? Excellent. Engineering, if you are here, could you quickly repaste that into the chat for a second?
Yeah, for sure. Let me get it real quickly. And I also brought our VP social to do a presentation.
Oh, never mind, Tony. You do not need. Simar has already posted into the chat. Thank you very much, Simar.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
Would
First of all, I assume you move.
yes.
I would like to second. We can begin the discussion.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So I have our VP social from ESSS here. Yujing, are you currently present with us? I know it's been a while.
Yep, I am. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely. Do you have screen sharing privileges?
I believe I do. Let me see here. Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir. And I can also hear you, so go for it.
Perfect. All right. So thank you guys all for your time today. We're here to just quickly discuss and just go over the WEC 2024 grant presentation that ESSS is going forward with today. So one second. Perfect. So what is WEC? Let's start off with that. So the Western Engineering Competition is one of the largest undergraduate engineering competitions in Western Canada. And it contains with over 200 competitors from across Western Canada. So from University of Manitoba West, there's a variety of students that's come out and participates in this competition. So what are we seeking today? Well, today, WEC this year is being hosted at the University of Manitoba. So we are seeking to subsidize the cost of sending 17 of our students to this competition. And so here's the outline of what's happening. It's the bulk of the cost is the flights. Then we have some Ubers from the airport to the hotel and vice versa, as well as the general delegate fee that covers the food as well as the hospitality. So in total, we are asking for as much as $20,000 today to help subsidize fully these costs. I do understand this is a lot of money. So, whether we receive 5K, 10K, 15K from this, any amount will be helpful towards subsidizing our costs. So what's the benefit here? We have four main areas: connections, sponsorships, national influence, as well as experience. Let's start off with connections. So this conference allows our students to build connections with other students across the country, right? So this is a competition that's encompasses entire Western Canada. So this connects our students with lots of people across Canada. Next up is sponsorships. This is the main point here, okay? And it's really like with this competition, we'll be able to build as each lesson, as SFU, have a better presence on the Western stage as well as the national stage. And I'll get into that in a moment here, but it helps us build relationships with potential companies and partnership with them. And with that, it helps us have more funding as the ESSS. Therefore, we will rely less on you guys, the SFSS, for funding. So this is a long-term investment, right? If you invest this in now, then we'll need less money from you guys in the long run if we are able to form those partnerships. Next up is the student experience, right? So this really just enhances the SFU student experience and allows our students to problem solve in a high stress environment, so building their soft and technical skills, allowing them to be more competitive in the industry. And, back again to that connection point, letting them build more connections with industry, looking for, partnerships in the long run, just, partnerships with companies to allow us to have more funding. So lastly, national. So this isn't just a, Western kind of influence. There's a national influence to this because our WEC winners go to the Canadian Engineering Competition. This is what we short form call KEC. And last year, we had 6 of our winners from WEC go to Keck, and 2 of them manufactured one. So Keck is really just a giant competition here that encompasses all of Canada, Maritimes, Quebec, and of course the West. And it usually has, around the same about 200 participants. So it's quite a big competition as well. So now that I've heard of benefits, let's talk a bit more about the Constitution and why this aligns with our purpose as a student society. It definitely aligns, we are all for enriching our students' time here at SFU. And so sending of our students just doesn't enrich the 17 people we'll be sending, but also our student body in general, as we always try our best to report and highlight their experiences. So to summarize everything up here, WEC is a giant competition with 200 plus students, and this year is being held at the University of Manitoba. And we have 17 winners, 17 people we're trying to send. And so we're seeking as much as $20,000 to help fund them and subsidize their costs. So what's the benefits again? Connections, sponsorships, and well, national and experience. But mainly it's the long-term benefit here, right? If we're able to have more influence on that stage, more influence at the national Western stage, we're able to find more companies to partner with, able to, instead of having to ask you guys for funding, able to ask those companies for funding and receive funding from them. Therefore, you guys will have more money as SFSS to fund other student groups. So that's my quick little pitch here on why we should go forward with this motion. Yeah, thank you so much. Any questions?
Hello, I've got a question. First of all, though, I want to comment this was an exemplary presentation, incredibly clear, and the points that you have made were absolutely solid. The question I had was, is WEC a traditional thing that the Engineering Science Student Society has been doing for a while, or is this relatively recent?
So this is something that we've been doing for, I don't know exact history here, but I know we've been doing it since before COVID. We've always been trying to send people. Like last year we did this. Unfortunately, last year was in Surrey. So Surrey campus held it. And so we were able to send lots of students then. But this isn't something that's ongoing for many years.
Wow, it sounds like it's been strongly solidified into your history. Understood. Sindhu, you have a list?
Yeah, looks great. Just the general question that I will be asking is, did you go through the granting process for this?
Yes, we did submit a grant.
And how much were you granted for this?
I'm not sure there. I believe we submitted it and did not hear back quite yet.
Okay, because yeah, usually that would go to the VP Finance, me and Liam, and we haven't received anything yet. So
we did submit it, and we did submit a grant. I can, yeah.
There's also a chance that one of our grant approval staff has just not sent the email out to us yet, so it's inside of their system, but it has not appeared in our inboxes. Brought to council, to my understanding. Yeah, normally there will be like some sort of response that comes from SFSS, and then they'd be taking it as an appeal. Are there any further lists? No, I guess I can quickly list one now, and this isn't exactly a question for engineering. Actually, no, I think I'll list after Priyanka.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna just confirm what got confirmed by Ashley and you in the chat. This seems like a great event and like motion we brought forward. I would say just to stay in line with our policies, I might move to maybe postpone this until we know about the grant. So yeah, maybe we should do that, but I will give it back to you now, Liam.
Yeah, okay. My point was somewhere along the lines of that, but it's more of a question, somewhat related. Do we have another council meeting after this one, given it's the end of the year? Cindy, do you know?
Don't we have one on the
Actually,
20th?
On the 20th. Yeah, in 2 weeks. Okay, then we got one on the 20th. Just checking. All right, then. If that's the case, then it should be okay. Then we should be all right. The main thing I was concerned with is that because WEC is generally going to be it's an event that's going to be happening relatively recently, and because of SFSS guidelines, whatever grant submission that they need to send out, it has to be within a certain time span before the actual event itself happens. And because of certain things engineering has had dealt with, I'm able to confirm this. Like, for example, the engineering competition that they just held in the sub ballroom very recently, they were not able to send it out within the, I believe it was a 40-day time period for the events. And if that's the case, then I think I understand why the motion's appearing inside of our agenda today. It's sort of like a grand confirmation. The fact that we have another council meeting on December 20th, that is a piece of good news. So engineering, I guess we could wait for SFSS to email you back about the results, how much money they decide to give you for WEC then. And then based on the results of that, you can represent this motion in our December 20th council meeting, if that sounds good. Oh, yes. You have a list?
So it would not be possible to, so without the grant, well, at least grant process, it would not be possible to go forward with this motion today? Because we do have a deadline of December. We would like to know how much we'll have to have our delegates pay within the next week, because it would be, as we have to, sign up our delegates soon. That's all.
Understood. This sounds like somewhat of an exceptional circumstance then.
Because we had something similar like this for the ACKNOWLEDGEMENT Rush, where we had gone forward. So
yeah, this does make sense. Personally, I would say I'd be in favor of this motion that because of the circumstances. Normally, yeah, I would have to agree with what Sindhu mentioned. We have to be following proper grant proceedings. But in this case, because this thing directly affects the delegates that would be going to WEC, whether or not they'd have to pay at all, or if they do have to pay, how much money they would have to pay, and because they're really tight on the results, then it's good for the sake of the students who are affected by this Western engineering competition that we actually have some sort of confirmation sent out for them relatively soon. Sorry, Ashley, I didn't mean to run over your list. I see it.
Yeah, that's all good. No, no worries at all, Liam. Could ESSS confirm when they wanted to know the results by? I forgot the date they mentioned. But quite frankly, either way, since the grant has not been rejected or approved yet, I would like to strongly suggest that we follow proper procedure with grants here. Considering past precedent, we're starting to develop quite the habit of making exceptional cases, especially for engineering, and I would like to maybe try to be a little less biased about this going forward and follow our policy.
Well, I'm very sorry. I might have to directly respond to that. Oh my, sorry, I DM'd that's to someone here. The issue is I don't believe it's too accurate to consider the things that we've done for engineering or for any other student society within our motions to be considered as biased or sided, or that we're bending rules for certain people. That's Not exactly. I'm not quite sure if that's the tone that you're implying, but I'm clarifying that I do not agree with that kind of approach. The things that we've done, they've been discussed thoroughly most of the time, especially when they come to motions with grant amounts as large as this. Yeah, you can say I'm clearly in support of this motion. Yeah, of course. But I don't want that to reflect bias in any way whatsoever. This is clearly just a circumstance. And they mention that they've attempted to follow proper grant proceedings. They mention why they need the results very soon. They mentioned the benefits, pros and cons. There's the cost, and we can discuss the amount of money that they're going to be receiving in the end. But all in all, I wouldn't really say we'd be bending the rules in favor of any particular student union. Every once in a while, we can choose to make exceptions. That's what the whole point of a grant appeal is for. And when you think about it from that perspective, we are just doing regular things that a student union does all the time. Although if anyone's inclined to disagree, then I'm respectful of that opinion as well. Let me take a look at the list. Wallace retracts his list, then it's going back to Sindhu.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, that's what appeals are for. So we have pushed back on groups when they haven't followed the process. So I think we'll have to do the same here, or that would be my recommendation. Of course, it's up to council, whatever you decide. But the reason we do that is just so that our team can also go through the funding guidelines, grant you the appropriate amount, or give council recommendations or things to consider when making their decision. So that's usually why we go through the process. If your grant is already in the system and you're looking to expedite this, we do have a meeting on the 20th. That's when we have to push it through. But in terms of everything else, like we can ask our coordinators to look into that as early as this week. So up to council, but my recommendation would still be to follow process.
I do understand. And well, I guess I can make a list after Priyanka. You have a list?
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with Sindhu here. I would like to follow process if we can. I understand that you like engineering and the individuals going likely want some certainty earlier. Would it be possible to do like an emergency council meeting next week? So we can like meet following the grant if needed, rather than waiting the 2 weeks.
I guess I can quickly respond to that. An emergency council meeting, it might be necessary specific to this motion, assuming nothing goes through today. Because we're kind of we're really, really near finals, along with the end of the year in general. I'm kind of resistant to pulling up an emergency council meeting, especially since we still have one on the 20th. I will try calling for one if it's necessary, and then it's going to be a chance for us to rely on the quorum to happen and stuff like that. But all in all, I want to clarify what I'm mentioning earlier. I am in favor of following SFS's policies. I completely support them. And engineer, you can chime in if you want, but for now, I think it's pretty easy to say no student union inside of this meeting wants to go against policies. They never choose outright to do such a thing. Going through a grants appeal, it's not easy for anyone on any side, especially not for the people who are submitting these grants appeals in the first place. Whether it comes from CSSS or some other union, mechatronics or engineering or yada yada. These grant appeals are happening because they sort of need to happen. I agree that we should follow the processes when we can, but in cases when they cannot, that's what the point of these motions existing is for. It's for these certain exceptions that deviate from the regular process for very, very clear and in this case, understandable reasons. And that's kind of where my point is. Let me take a look at the list. I believe Wallace, do you have the next list? My bad. Sindhu has a direct response. I will listen to that first.
Yeah, sorry, mine was just kind of in terms of Priyanka's idea, because I do think that's a good idea, to have that emergency meeting, just so, there's two opportunities for this motion to pass, just in the event that we don't meet quorum on the 20th, because now that's a new fear I have. I think it would be a good idea to have an emergency meeting, just so that there's definite chance of this getting passed at the next meeting. And now Wallace can.
Yeah, I guess so. Wallace?
Yeah, just to touch on essentially our 20K cost. The biggest part of our cost is flights, and everyone kind of knows what happens with flights as you get closer to as the date of when you book the flight gets closer to when the flight actually occurs. So it would just, I agree that this is a bit of a redundant point found out, but I agree that we should follow process. I'm just a little concerned that if we don't figure out how much we potentially will get from the SFSS, we might be dealing with an even higher cost, because I know while trying to get this grant through, we missed the Black Friday sales, unfortunately, and we weren't able to lock those down. So our costs have already gone up quite a bit, and I'm just worried that if things stretch to the 20th, we might not be able to use the current prices that we have in our presentation slides, and we might end up either needing more from the SFSS or just ending up in a situation where we don't have enough to cover everybody, and at that point it'll just be a mess from the ACCS side. But I have my concerns, is essentially what I'm saying.
So Wallace, to clarify, is there a chance that if we decide to have an emergency meeting next week, the motion will change in the way that the amount of money that you'll end up asking for might increase because of the way plane costs increase when you try to book things closer to their flight?
I think we would still be asking for the same amount from the SFSS. It's just the costs that are reflected in the slides right now, and in terms of just the flight costs, might increase, and we'll have a more difficult time with it. It just depends on how much we get from the SFSS again. It's a lot of theoretical things here, but there's a chance that we might need more.
Yeah, that's understood. Is there anyone's list that I have not gone to yet? Oh, yes, there's Ashley. Ashley?
Yeah, hi, sorry, it's me again. So originally I was gonna move to postpone this motion since it is out of line in our policy, strictly speaking, since their grant has not been approved or accepted. If we wanted to follow proper procedure, we would have to postpone this meeting. I would also like to strongly suggest that we call a special council meeting next week, since I think that will help ESSS much more meaningfully than if we were to postpone until the 20th. But having heard Wallace's I don't know, concerns, I am sympathetic, especially from a financial point of view, that having to spend more money later is of a concern to me. So I'm now less definitive on wanting to postpone this motion. But there's another very real part of me that's like, we simply cannot pass this motion right now, since this is not an appeal. Like, the way our appeals work is they have to be approved or rejected. This motion is out of order in that sense because it's disguising itself as an appeal to a grant that has not been decided one way or the other. This is a special request in a certain way, but then on the one hand, maybe we should treat it like a special request instead of like an appeal. So I'm not sure here. I would like maybe some more input from some other counselors, perhaps, about whether or not if there's perhaps interest in having a special council meeting next week, and if that's not feasible, then perhaps I'm more willing to bend policy a little bit right now. Yeah. In the interest of helping students, to clarify.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I said, yeah, you have the next list. I will go right after.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think in terms of today, we should be following the policies. Just because, I feel like in other situations that the policy, this wouldn't even really be a question. And we'd be like, well, this is the rules, you have to apply for grant, this and that. So I think just in general, we should stick with the policies in terms of fairness for everyone. In terms of the emergency meeting, that's fine, I think, if people are able to do so, but in terms of the policies for today, I think we should just stick with the rules.
Yep, that is understood. What I was mainly going to say was that I guess I'm relatively sure engineering can agree with me on this, but in this case, I don't believe this motion is intended to be presented to the SFSS as an appeal, because technically speaking, they wouldn't be really appealing anything. They haven't gotten any response back from the SFSS. This is just a scenario where they have a grant request. They need a response from the SFSS to secure a definitive answer on how much money they'd be receiving. And they need the result faster than SFSS is normally able to provide it, provide that we're following regular policies. This is an attempt to expedite the process for, very clear reasons. And this is technically one of the only ways that they are able to do something like this. And so it's not exactly an appeal. It's more of an indication that, hey, this is a grant request. It's for something that's incredibly important. It affects 17 people from SFU. And we need to provide them an answer as soon as possible. And the closer we get to the deadline that happens in this circumstance, then the more this amount that they would be asking, or the amount that ESSS would be spending in total, is volatile to change. And that's not something that ESSS can exactly change themselves. Even though this is deviating from standard policies, I agree with that. And even though I do agree that we should be following standard policies, I also agree with that one as well. I understand why this motion is presented to us today, and I do appreciate the information that we've gotten, regardless of which direction that this motion goes. Wallace, you have a list?
Yes, I just wanted to ask about when that emergency council meeting would be. If we had one in between now and the 20th, would that be next week? So the 13th, exactly 7 days, or?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Oh, GSU, you have a list?
Yes, thanks, Liam. So I'd just like to actually agree with you here and say that despite it not being regular practice, I can empathize with the position that ESSS is in. At the GSU, we have on multiple occasions organized some events of a similar scale with even more students. And as one of those organizers, I completely, once again, empathize with the difficulty of submitting grants to the SFSS, especially for amounts of, or such significant amounts, and the due diligence that must be done, as well as then that this presentation to council being one of the only ways in which we as DSUs have the opportunity to kind of make our case to council and argue that this is money that is well spent, that this is going to the benefit of students. And I think over the last few weeks, especially tonight, there's been a lot of discussion about how we can best support students, and the fact that as a society we want to be here to support members of the SFU community to the greatest degree possible. This, I think, amending our policy for one day, given the exceptional circumstance, is, I think, a chance for us to show that we are serious about that commitment. And especially in regard to the possibility of an emergency meeting, we've already been having difficulty meeting quorum. I don't foresee us being able to achieve that in the middle of exams, especially during such a tumultuous year where I think the stress on everybody taking them is going to be much higher. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Understood. Thank you for your point. Henry, you have the next list.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I missed it, but when did they send in the grant? Like to the SFSS? Because the thing is, they're saying that they need it right away, right, to determine plane tickets and everything. And the thing is, we're saying that we don't think that we can get it out in a timely manner, right? For them to plan it all out. The thing is, when did they send it out again?
Tony, are you able to answer that?
All right. Yeah. So it was filed 2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
But why? But why two? If you would have planned out this event to have this PowerPoint, and the thing is, it looks really well organized. Don't get me wrong, right? Like the thing is, like it seems like a great idea. I would feel like you would have sent in this grant like 2 weeks ago, not 2 days ago. Yeah, no, exactly what Ashley said.
Yes. Yushi, you have a list.
Unfortunately, due to the circumstances of when we had planned for EC and when we were able to receive the results, we were unable to figure out all the finances before within a reasonable time. So I do understand that, you know, putting it in 2 days ago is not ideal. But just due to the essence of how EC was planned out, due to us having some problems during EC and unfortunate situations during EC, we were unfortunately unable to have the results sooner, therefore be able to organize all the finances. So that's just kind of how it turned out to be. But yeah, that's kind of the reason behind that.
I can kind of second that. EC was an event that happened extremely recently. More importantly, though, it was an event that came from ESSS that had one of the largest registration. No, that had the largest registration rate in the history that they ever had. But that didn't change the fact that the people who were organizing EC was just like a handful of students. I was a I was a judge at EC. I was able to see firsthand how chaotic everything was. Our finance staff, but Ashley, your point in the chat, I concede to that. Finance staff cannot check to make sure we have the funds in 2 days. I completely understand then that, you know, SFS is not able to provide a response during that time. You have a list?
I do. I was really hoping that you guys would have submitted your grant in a long time ago, since that would have made having your appeal be a little soon. Like what I was imagining was you submitted it 2 weeks ago, and then we're slow on our end, and you really need this information now. But considering the fact that you submit your grant 2 days ago and expect us to be able to give you a meaningful answer, and we certainly can't give you a meaningful answer now. We're a bunch of counselors. We don't have access to all the financial documents. I don't feel comfortable voting on this motion right now. Considering the fact that your grant was sent in 2 days ago, I move to postpone this motion to the next council meeting.
Yeah, that's an understandable point. I understand why it was submitted really late. It was chaotic during that time period, but I do see your point. I guess I can ask a question for Tony though. Is this something that you'd like to move to postpone?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. Like I understand the circumstances that we've put sort of SFSS in, filing this grant like 2 days ago. Out of respect, like I understand the timing, and I want to follow the process as much as possible. So I think it's fair to postpone this.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna ask for a second on my motion. Actually, I believe you moved to postpone it. Are you moving to postpone to the next council meeting, as in the 20th, or potential emergency one?
I'm moving to postpone to the next council meeting. That is irrespective of when the next council meeting is. That will be entirely up to you, Liam.
That is understood. Will you ask for a seconder? No, I second it. I am seeking unanimous consent. I am receiving no dissent. Then this motion passes then. This wet grant appeal is going to be postponed to the next council meeting. Let me check the agenda to see what we have next. Do we have anything else before our notice of motion? It doesn't seem like we have anything else before 13. So submitted by acting VP internal. I would like to move this. Anyone care to second?
Second.
I hear CSA seconds. So whereas the FAST committee reviewed and recommended changes to the finance policy of the society on October 13th, 2023, whereas the governance committee reviewed and discussed these changes on October 30th, 2023, be it resolved that the SFSS adopt changes to finance policy outlined in attachment SFSS finance policies 2023, October 30th. Is there some discussion on this? I am looking at nothing in the chat. Are we comfortable with going straight to voting? Yes, Ashley, point of order.
There's no voting. This is a notice of motion. The voting will take place at the next council meeting, presumably. This actually will for sure be December 20th. Since, yeah, there's no voting. But if you do have any questions, definitely feel free to email me, Jad, or Sindhu, or all three of us, and we can answer some questions about this. No real substantial changes noteworthy, but you should have the attachment if you want to take a look. But yeah, no voting on this. This is just a notice.
Yeah, that's right. My bad. These recommended changes, are you able to quickly go through them?
I am not able to quickly do anything. I will let you guys know this was like an hour-and-a-half long governance meeting to go over all those changes, but as soon as the DR, I'm sure she can provide some clarity.
Okay, Sindhu.
Yeah, so we can send the documents to counselors ahead of the next meeting, and we can go over some of the larger changes during and answer any questions during the next meeting when we bring the motion forward.
Got it. Okay then. Ooh, and that carry, not carry tag should not be there then. I think we're in Q&A now. First question. Do we have anything for Q&A? Any questions at all? All right then. Next question I have, would we like to confirm Q&A or conclude Q&A now? I take this silence as a yes to conclude it. I'm going to cautiously move on to adjournment. I move it. Would somebody like to second it?
Internal.
Second.
I heard internal second, so be it resolved to adjourn this meeting at 6:57 p.m. I am seeking unanimous consent. And I'm also receiving no dissent. We can consider ourselves properly adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time.